traditions and cultural identity. Users bring the convenience for recipients and touch and other services. It's important for parents. Older parents have to acknowledge the need for new infrastructure and basic to one house, which was minority of the welfare report as a Singapore news. Teacher approach became a dream in 1876, planned to save us war cities to help with the slums. Was going to pass Polish meeting programs and construct the overall aim of the association. technology. One of features is learning standards, centralized all these activities. Well,
I'm saying we continue about the housing. So first will be promoting ethnic integration. As part of the urban renewable and public housing programs, the slums were cleared and the communities were resettled into public housing. And this balloting system, language and education policies, and emergence of public jobs all enable an opportunity to achieve a different mix of systems within the new public housing estate. For the re-emergence of ethnic clustering, the main reason why Singaporeans regularly got into their flat was to move of the desire of married adult children to live near to their parents, where grandparents could help with the child minding as parents would. And this ethnic integration policies was to ensure a mix of groups of races in each town and even apartment block. Next will be housing and family, where this public housing has the support of pro-family policies where a key eligibility and requirement was to form a family nucleus with a spouse, parents, or children. The life cycle approach also offered products such as homes for new family units, young families, school-going children, etc. To encourage family formation and procreation, engaged couples can work a flat but must produce a marriage certificate within 3 months of them taking possession of the flat. As part of the CPF housing grant was also given to eligible applicants and can be increased to the flat under their parents. To promote family ties, this joint balloting scheme was to foster, as I said, close family ties. And the family-friendly schemes for HDB also involve a flexi layout scheme to offer flats with flexibility to families with varying configurations of internal layout. The house the elderly is to ensure Singaporeans age gracefully and actively, where the live upgrading program is so that senior citizens can move about more freely and easily, and the studio apartments were to provide another option for those aged 65 and above. To house this low-income and needy families, this special CPF housing grant and additional housing grant was for those who are unable to own their own homes, and the government has helped them. This quality design is so that residents would like the look and feel of their own town and feel that they belong in that community. HDB implemented the heritage of the area into the flat so that the residents develop a greater sense of attachment where familiar landmarks will be retained and the residents would recognize the area. Building communities and facilities are laid out so that residents will inevitably meet and in hope that familiarity over time will engender community development. And also it serves as a social space where anyone in the community can meet at any time. Encouraging community bonding, HDB and CCY helps organize and encourage the community to use any common place to share and build bonds where possible. And active citizenry is where the government asks the residents for their own opinions instead of leaving them out. And now, we will start the next about biodiversity.
Hi, I'm Manpreet and I will be presenting on biodiversity. Next slide. Biodiversity refers to a wide variety of living organisms within one ecosystem. these organisms can be animals, plants, including their habitat as well. In the early years, because Singapore was independent, they were much more closely connected with their biodiversity, to the point that they used natural herbs for their medicines in the early 70s and 80s. By the 80s, Singapore was devoted to increasing the greenery on their island and parks. They do this by increasing the number of parks, streetscapes, and planting more greenery as well. The government at that time recognized the value of conserving the natural biodiversity in the highly slowly urbanizing island. The reason why Singapore decided to plant plants is because they are natural air cleaners by using photosynthesis to clear the air of carbon dioxide. They also lower the ambient temperature by providing shades, and also they reduce soil erosions. There are different kinds of trees. Some of the trees, for example, like mangrove trees, which can be found in Sungai Buloh, serve as nurseries for crabs, prawns, and cockles, and many other marine organisms. They also reduce soil erosion by a lot near the sea areas. Insects are also part of biodiversity. For example, insects are natural pollinators, while birds act as seed dispensers. Natural biodiversity ecosystem can be found in Sungai Buloh, Bukit Timah, and Pulau Ubin, etc. Next slide. Before Singapore got its independence in the 1819, when the British set up trade in Singapore, the island was almost covered in vegetation. And by the 1948, the forest was reduced to about 64% of the total area that was before. This was due to cultivation. That same year, the government grew concern on the effects of deforestation that included the fear of Singapore climate change. By the year 1982, a forest survey was done by N84 who found that only 11% of the land that could be demarcated as forest reserve to protect the colony's remaining habitats. Kennedy recommended an agency to be formed to protect, manage, oversee the forest reserve. This department was later known as the Forest Department in the Botanical Gardens. Next. Even though the Forest Department was formed, and most of the forests were under reserve. But even though so, the colonial government revoked most of the forest reserve status in 1930. This was because of their degrading condition. Only Bukit Timah Forest Reserve was retained on grounds of humanity and botanical interest. During World War II, when Singapore fell under the Japanese control, the Japanese saw the value of the forest reserve and ensured the protection during the war. After the war, the control of the botanical gardens was returned back to the Singapore government. And Hoodlum, one of the colonial governors, recommended a legislation to be elected to protect the Singapore Nature's Reserve. Next. During the early years after the greenering the country. This was very unique because Singapore was still a developing country at that stage, and it was implemented long before global environmental issues became a problem, includes climate change. Greenery often meant planting trees and plants within building areas such as housing estate, commercial districts. The reason the Singapore government did this is because they could not afford full preservation of a natural habitat because it was still a developing country. And now I would passing on to Emma.
Hi, today I'll be sharing about Chek Jawa and marine conservation. In April 2001, as part of URA's urban planning process, Mr. Ma unveiled the draft concept plan in 2001 to the public. This was followed by a public exhibition where URA gathered feedback, and at this point, attention turned into an area of rich biodiversity located on the eastern part of Pulau Ubin, Tanjung Chek Jawa. This area had long been slated for reclamation for military use, and Parliament's approval was given in 1992. In December 2000, during a nature walk, botanist Mr. Joseph Lai actually discovered that Chek Jawa contained a relatively large number of coastal and marine habitats within a small area, and that is potentially rich in biodiversity. The reclamation of Chek Jawa set to begin soon in 2001. Nature enthusiasts voiced their concern against this. Public interest in Chek Jawa grew, and Dr. Gay Min, then president of NSS, wrote a letter to the Minister for Community Development, Youth and Sports, which was carried out in the media. Volunteers actually tried their best to actually salvage the area and actually stop reclamation. There were guides that conducted tours, and there was an estimated of 900 people that went on low tide walks over those 2 months. In 2001, Mr. Ma, together with officials from sectors such as NND, URA, HDB, and NPAC also visited the site. The discovery of this rich biodiversity actually led the government to reconsider reclamation, and because of that, communications plans to update the public. URA and NPAC communications plan to update the public. URA and HDB looked into alternative reclamation protocols and consulted NPAC's opinion that on whether modifications could be made to actually preserve the biodiversity in Chek Jawa. After much discussions, it was agreed upon that since this patch of land was not needed in the immediate future, that they will actually hold on to reclamation plans and actually conserve Chek Jawa. However, studies actually focus on the impact of reclamation on dugongs and coral reefs, but not the impact on mangroves and intertidal habitats. Eventually, Mr. Mao decided that the reclamation could be put off and was not needed as I said before, it's not needed in the immediate future. Next, I'll be talking about the development of new nature reserves. The land ability to be presents a constraint. It is inevitable that the inclusion of any new nature reserve will be justified with strong scientific rationale. NPAC submitted its request for more nature reserves in 2001 to allow the science-based policy to legally protect at least one site which is ecosystem found in Singapore. From 1990s, because of this, they sent out actually a call to actually preserve each ecosystem found around the nation. So I'm just going to share with you a short sentence on the conserving of Labrador shore, which is actually one of the ecosystems that they're actually conserving right now. Since Labrador is one of the only remaining rocky shore and coastal forest habitat accessible to the public in Singapore's mainland, Mr. Ba Bo Tan, then Minister for National Development, decided that Labrador shore together with Sungai Buloh will be gazetted as 2 new nature reserves in 2002. So this started the trend of actually preserving ecosystems found in Singapore. Moving on to biodiversity survey. In 1990s onwards, conservation efforts were actually really strengthened by several major surveys. These initiatives actually provided valuable information on various terrestrial and coastal and marine sites and enabled more systematic, science-driven approach to conservation management and assessment of development proposals. So, before 2000, funds and manpower was actually difficult to come out. And when MPAS was formed, actually less than 10 officers managed to manage the existing nature reserves. However, biological surveys were needed to discover and record what was breeding in Bukit Timah and Central Catchment nature reserves. Prior to 2000, surveys of coastal and marine environment were carried out mainly by a small number of techniques. After the discovery of Chek Jawa's rich biodiversity, MND tasked MPARKS to conduct a rapid survey of natural areas in Singapore that were outside the nature reserves. The survey would alert the government to areas similar to Chek Jawa and provided a basis for further study of promising sites. So this actually began Singapore's efforts to actually preserve different ecosystems found in this country. And that started the environmental efforts that you have now today. Thank you.
Okay.